Hello, I'm Stacey Mallory, and welcome to Chargers Talk 4630. If this is your first time here, I welcome you and ask that you follow this podcast by pressing on the subscribe button. This way, you'll be notified whenever this podcast goes on live or release the latest content. You can also listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. And please check out some hot topics involving the Chargers on stormcloud.blog, which is run by our very own Kyle D. This season is almost here. Just in a few short days, I remember the high I was on with this team 3 years ago until we quickly realized that Brandon Staley was the wrong guy. I'm going to take a minute and give Jim Harbaugh his flowers that he deserved. The reality of all this is Jim Harbaugh has basically the fifth highest head coach winning percentage in NFL history. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to be a quick turnaround. It may not be this year. I personally believe it will, though. But Hortiz and Harbaugh have been very active since getting here. And an offense that they've mastered and brought over the players that know how to run it. I've already predicted that this will be a top 10 running team. I do recognize that their potential for them to be very dangerous is real. But health, no doubt, is going to play an important role keeping the core guys together. But I think they have something here. And people are sleeping on it. The veterans have bought into this program. They believe in Harbaugh. You've seen some of them take pay cuts and restructure deals just to play for Jim Harbaugh. And they believe and have confidence in what this man has done throughout his coaching career. Now, I talk to a lot of friends all the time. We talk football. And the recent report came out that Joey Bosa in a scrimmage game against the Rams broke, I believe, his left hand. I can't believe it was left, his right, but he broke his hand. And when he finally showed up last week, he had a cast on it as he was practicing for the first time in a while. And, I had friends of mine that call me up and tell me, look, man, y'all need to cut this guy. Y'all need to trade this guy. And, of course, I push back all the time when it comes to Joey Bosa because I really like the guy. And they tell me, what do you like so much about him? I think the guy is a pain in the butt. The guy has an attitude problem, and the guy is always getting hurt. So when people keep asking me, what is it with the love affair I have with Joey Bosa, I get it. Sometimes, maybe he may come across as an arrogant son of a gun that doesn't care, or maybe his head is not always in the game. But we see many players in this league get chance after chance after chance, even when some think they don't deserve it. I'm going to go and show you some footage of me doing some studying, and it'll explain to you why is it that I love Joey Bosa so much, and I root for him to succeed, and I root for him to stay healthy because I know the kind of disruptive player that he can be. So take a look at this really quick. Looking at this play here by Joey Bosa, he uses his speed to get around the tackle, causing Fitzpatrick to fumble the ball. On this play here, the Chiefs needed 7 for the first, but Bosa just overpowers his man through the gap to pick up the sack on Mahomes. Here against the Raiders, Bosa matched up with Leatherwood, used his hands to strip call the football, causing another turnover. As you can see on the play here, Joey Bosa has a high motor and never stops fighting with his hands as he breaks free using a bull rush to beat the McCary and pushes right into Lamar Jackson's lap, picking up the sack. Here's another play showing Bosa using his hands constantly fighting, never giving up on the play, and eventually takes down Cousins, causing a turnover. The quickness of Bosa is again on display as he gets the step on the guard, and Roethlisberger has nowhere to go but down. Here, poor Mike Glennon has no chance as Bosa speeds by the tackle and is in the quarterback's lap before he can drop back. Look here against the Chiefs. Bosa displays a combination of speed, power, and great use of the hands as he gets around Chiefs tackle and hits the arm of Mahomes, causing a fumble. Against Denver here, before Drew Lock can hand off the ball to former Chargers back Melvin Gordon, Joey Bosa blows him up in the backfield and the running play goes nowhere. And finally here, he beats the tackle, then hits the spin move to free himself up quick enough to hit Carr's arm, causing a fumble. So I just showed you some footage of studying Joey Bosa's skill set. And let me tell you, when this man is healthy, he's a hellraiser. He's not only dominant, but he's a game changer and a game wrecker. And as long as he's wearing the boat on the helmet and the pants, I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader for this dude because I know if his head is on right and he's healthy, he can make the difference between whether this defense is really, really good or elite. Now, I'm going to give some love to Joe Hortiz also because I talk about everybody else. I talked about Harbaugh. I talked about the players. I talked about the owners finally coming to grips with themselves that they didn't know what they were doing in terms of building football teams and building depth and building a strong culture. So I haven't spent a lot of time with Joe Hortiz, but I'm going to do it right now because, as we know, Joe Hortiz, he claimed running back Hassan Haskins off waivers, who played under Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. Joe also made two big trades, acquiring defensive back Elijah Molden from the Titans, then adding an excellent option in Taylor Heineke in a trade with the Falcons to the quarterback room. The Chargers owners finally realized we need to hire a GM that has a track record of success, and they made a hell of a choice by bringing in Joe Hortiz, that's been with the Ravens organization since 1998, where he's worked under different titles related to player personnel evaluation. Hortiz helped the Ravens organization compile rosters to make the playoffs in the last 5 years, while they put up a record of 56-27 over that span, including a league best mark of 13-4 in the 2023 season. Joe has come here to LA and has not disappointed so far. He's had, in my opinion, a great draft and did a nice job bringing in low-risk free agent acquisitions and a flurry of signings and trades. Hortiz doesn't get enough credit for constantly working around the clock to scan over the entire league, looking for players that's low risk and high reward that he can provide for Coach Harbaugh. Such a huge difference in contrast from the previous regime of the Tom Telesco. We feel like players LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates, and Phillip Rivers, their prime years of their careers was wasted with a general manager that did not know how to build depth. He missed out on more picks than he hit. He never got it right with the head coach. And he always assembled a team that had no identity. Under Telesco's time, the team always came up short, finding the strangest ways to lose games and being the biggest underachievers over the last 15 years. But Charger fans are beginning to feel a shift in the wind. There's a different feeling and an energy that hasn't been around in the air since 2006. Since Harbaugh and Hortiz arrived with the successful track records they have, with building cultures with winning teams while establishing an identity, Charger fans now believe the Chargers finally got it right with the coach and the GM, bringing in running backs J.K. Dobbins and the Gus Bus, DJ Chalk, Will Dissly, and Hayden Hurst, signing Bradley Bozeman, Poona Ford, Tier Tart, Bud Dupree, and bringing back Denzel Perriman. If you thought that wasn't enough, well, he wasn't done. He got Christian Fulton and gave Tony Jefferson, former Raven, a shot. And we all know the all-world game he had against the Cowboys. And then you had the draft, taking Joe Alt with the 5th pick, drafting the talented Ladd McConkey and Junior Colson, and getting tremendous value adding Brendan Rice in the 7th round. And let's not forget Kimani Vidal, who I think before the season is over is going to prove so vital to this team. So now you got a team that's hungry and have not been significant since the 2007 AFC Championship game against the Patriots. Charger fans are hungry and haven't eaten in a long time. And we're not just hungry. We're starving for a championship. So Joe Hortiz brings all these groceries together in the kitchen. He gave Harbaugh the apron so he can start preparing the meal to feed the hungry Charger fans. And the meal is done and ready to be served in 5 days this coming Sunday against the Raiders. The Chargers have now went from a finesse team that has no identity, throws the ball all over the place without a plan, to a team that's going to be tough, physical, and oppose their will on defenses across the league and find ways to win instead of ways to lose. And in my opinion, they're going to be a team that opponents are not going to want to see on Sundays. I believe that. This Sunday, week 1, will be the 47th season I've been a fan and rooting for this team, and I have to be honest with you. I have never felt this confident about the Chargers this year. With some tough-ass players and a head coach like Jim Harbaugh that has one of the greatest football minds in the game and has won on every level and have the quickest turnaround ratio upon arrival we've ever seen. I don't expect anything different this year. The Chargers are here. To everyone that has to face the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh in SoFi or your stadium or your backyard or my backyard, start training because it's going to be like a heavyweight bout. And for dessert, we giving out bumps and bruises to everyone without a Chargers jersey between the white lines. We finally have a head coach and general manager and a great quarterback, and we confidently believe a Super Bowl trophy is closer than we could have ever imagined. Thank you to the Spanos family for waking up and figuring it all out. thanks to Jim Harbaugh for agreeing to come here and turn this organization around. And thank you to Joe Hortiz, who continues to retool this roster, even in times when us fans disagreed with some of the moves and couldn't understand or see his vision for how he wanted this team to look like when the meal was done. It's just that we haven't had this level of competence in the general manager room or from a head coach. So we're still getting used to seeing a team being run the way successful teams usually do. Trust me, we can definitely get used to this. And I think before the season is over, Joe Hortiz will be executive and general manager of the year, and Jim Harbaugh will be the coach of the year. Charger fans, claim it, speak it into existence, because it's happening. Now, as we close, I'm going to end with asking you guys to make sure you subscribe as we get ready for another NFL season. And as we exit this episode, I'm going to show you some highlights I put together and edited from our final preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys to get you jacked and ready to handle these Las Vegas Raiders, because we owe them big time. Enjoy, and see y'all in a couple of days. Bolt up.
Lance going back to the air. Lance dumped down. Davis is devoured.